Hey folks, this is Valkyrie 612 here. I have made some tutorials in the past, as many of you know, about Silent Hunter 5 and just some evaluations of it, and it's just to show you some techniques and so forth for being more effective at sinking ships. I haven't been playing the game for a while, but I know that they have now the new version of Silent Hunter 5, thanks to the folks at Subsim and many of the modders in the Silent Hunter 5 community. Wolves of Steel. I played it a little bit before I started this video, and I gotta say it's really tough, but it's a real challenge, and it's even more challenging than the full realistic mode in the without the mods. So I'm gonna give you my impression of the game, my honest opinion. But I want to say, first of all, I think this is that Silent Hunter 5 is easily one of the best ship simulators I've ever seen, and wartime ship simulators, that is. And the Wolves of Steel mod expansion is just it's brilliant. I mean, it's really incredible. They've merged all the best, or most of the best mods into one, and they've made it much more realistic and more challenging. So anyway, without further ado, I've started a new campaign, and I'm going to pull out of here slowly, slow speed ahead. Now, really, when you're in the just a little tip here, when you're in port, the easiest way to navigate is just from the bridge, and to use the map. So if I pull the map up here, zoom in, this is really complicated to manually, plot. You don't need to plot this. So as you can see, you just need to make a starboard turn and stay in the center of the channel. So that's all you need to do. For those of you that have been, that are familiar with the rules of traveling by boat or by ship, the channel markers and lighthouses and navigational aids that they had back then are pretty realistic, and they're easy to take advantage of. They're visual. You can see them at night, and you can see them during the daytime. So I'm going to make a starboard turn, and actually I'm just going to make a little 5-degree rudder shift to get us turning. And then as soon as we start turning, I'm going to take a hard starboard turn. I'm only doing 6 knots, as you can see down here. I'm using metric too, by the way, for my for all my values of distance. So this is part of what makes it more realistic. You have to rely on on the ship and your crew just to get yourself out of the port. You can't just plot this easy course with the old auto plotter, and then time compress it, and get out of port easily enough and not run into anything. Here you have to actually watch out for other ships and make sure that that you're in the proper place in the channel. You want to look all around you, especially at night. You want to make sure that it's a lot easier to run into something at night, obviously. So coming out of the channel, we're actually going to have the starboard buoys on our port side. So meaning you can't see the buoys yet. There is one way up here where my pointer is. You can definitely see him at night. I think I can zoom in on it with my binoculars. There's one over here. Let's see, where am I? Here we go. Okay, you see the markers there. So we're going to use those to stay in the deepest part of the channel. Of course, we're a submarine, so we've got a fairly shallow draft. Now, when you go to the map, it doesn't show you where you are. You notice that the last plot is when you're inside the subslip, and not moving. So we're, to make a best guess, we're somewhere around here. Now you can ask your navigator to to do like a dead reckoning, which is a little faster than to get a than it is to get a more accurate fix. But we don't need to do that because we're just it's daytime and we're just navigating. I'm gonna look ahead and make sure I'm following the channel pretty good. You see where my zero bearing is. And then once you get out here in the open ocean, then you can start to time compress. I apologize in advance. My computer is not it's not state of the art. It's not quite as fast as new ones, but but it does the job. But it may I can't go quite as quickly as some of you guys can with your new computers.
Ruder 5 Grad Steuerbord.
So you see that green starboard buoy that I'm passing? That's what I want. That's how you know you're going outside of the channel, is you have the starboard on your port side. That's important to know at night, especially. Believe me, it comes in handy. That's how you know whether you're coming in or out of a boat channel or waterway. So I'm going to go ahead and
Schiff in Sicht. Kurs 160.
and pause the video, or not pause the video, but stop the video, and I'm going to get out to the open ocean, and I'll see you then.
U-Boot gesichtet. Kurs 164.
Okay, I'm back, and I am out of the channel. I'm headed towards the open ocean. If you look behind me, there's the channel that I left. And I haven't actually checked my position yet, so I'm going to show you what that's like. we're going to have to do that now because we need to head towards the east coast of England, which is really just almost a due west course. But we're going to click on our navigator here.
Tiefe unter
And
Kiemenweg 70 Meter, Herr Karlein.
I'm going to ask him to give me a latitude and longitude via celestial. So he's going to use the sun, and he's going to do his thing. Now the sextant here that they have doesn't actually work. I actually don't know how to use it. I mean, I don't know how to use it in real life. I mean, I know a little bit about it, but I wasn't a navigator when I was in the Navy. I was air crew, and we had a lot more, sophisticated means of finding out where we were. But it doesn't seem to function, and that's good because if you had to do that yourself, that's all you would be doing. So right now the navigator is he is trying to find out where we are. First thing he does is he gives us a little weather report. You see here where my pointer is. He's calculating our current position. This takes a little while. It takes him about 30 minutes, which I think is not realistic. I think that a good navigator could plot your location probably within 5 minutes, maybe less, but it takes a while. So I'm going to speed it up and show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going straight now. I'm moving at a slow speed here. I'm only doing about 7 knots, but it seems to be more accurate when you're sitting still. But that makes sense. But you don't want to have to all of a sudden stop and just sit still while your navigator figures out where you are. So as you see, it's been over 10 minutes, and he's still plotting. I've got it at 16 time compression. If I double that, or triple that, it'll happen faster, obviously. But I just want you to see, how much time it actually takes. So he's still plotting, and it's been 20 minutes. Now we are moving. I understand that, but I mean, we're time compressed. So we're not moving all that much. There he goes. All right. So he just plotted it. As you can see, we're at 55 degrees. And let me move these guys out of the way. Right here. Latitude 55 degrees, 44 minutes north. Longitude 20 degrees, 59 minutes east. And if you hit M and look at the map, it'll take you right to where he thinks we are. Now, this is not as accurate as the automatic navigation stuff. Before the Wolves of Steel, and when you don't have it on full realistic, he's actually way off sometimes. And so, if you think that there's no way that where he said you are is correct. Like sometimes he'll plot you on land. That's not right. So what you do is you just go to the plot and you see where it says you can press X to delete it, or you can press C and then you can reposition it. So if you press C, which I just did, then I'm gonna just kind of, I'll move it, and I just moved it up a little bit. Because I think that he's, pretty accurate in that the weather's good, and there isn't any reason for him to screw up that much. You can also press V, so you can edit it, and you can put in some notes or something like that, or whatever you want. You can clear it. You can press X and just, like I said, delete it. You can press Shift V as in Victor, and you can edit the navigation fixed text, keeping the existing text. I don't know, why you would want to do that, but I mean, there might be. I mean, because you have, supermarks too that you can add on your map to put notes in there and stuff. So I guess that's just an extra thing you can use to put notes. But I don't know, maybe someone's got a better reason than that. But that's an option. So now we're gonna go to England. Well, since I started a new campaign, which I forgot that I actually started a new one because I had just been playing one before, where I was done with the very first part of it. But we actually want to go to this area here, to the Baltic operations, and let me show you how to do that. It's pretty easy. Over here you have this handy, I'm not sure exactly what you call this, but it's a direction or navigation disc. It converts your relative bearing to magnetic. And actually to true. The magnetic and true are not exactly the same, but at relatively short distances, unless you're traveling very, very long distances in the real world, it doesn't make doesn't make any difference. So now I'm not sure how the graphics are coming out right now with this recording. The gray color and stuff kind of makes it a little difficult to see where I'm drawing and pointing and all that. So just let me know in the comments if you're having difficulty seeing something, and then I'll see if I can highlight stuff for you, or maybe change the color or something. I don't know. I'll figure out how to fix it. But first thing you want to do is you want to look at what your magnetic heading is. And you see it says I'm at 235 right now. So you see this 0 on the outside. Oops, saving here. This is an autosave. Okay. Anyway, you see this 0 up here? That's where your bow is. So your bow is actually pointing at 235. So the inside circle here, if you look at, you've got to find 235. And 235 is about right here. So we're going that way. And as you can see, we really want to go a little further west. So we're going more southwest. And when you zoom in and out, the disc doesn't stay on your ship. So it's kind of a pain. There was another mod that where the disc, where you could lock the disc on where your ship was, and you could zoom in and out, and it would stay right on on your ship. And I kind of like that. It made things a little easier. So you want to get the crosshairs here right in the middle of your X as best as you can. And then you know that first of all you want to draw a line to where you want to go, which is here. I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to go right there and click, and you just kind of drag it. And if you see the line in the back, or the right side of the disc where the line is crossing, that's going to be where you want to set your course. So if we're reading this right, it's hard to read it. That's about let's see, 2, 4, 5. That's 265. You probably can't see it, but they're little tiny hash marks in between the larger ones, and each large one is 2 degrees. So we're at 2, 4, and then one little one is 5. That's 265. Now, just drew course line there. Gonna go ahead and go to 265 now. Now you can do it this way, where I'm pointing. You can point at the compass and just move your mouse dial, or you know, whatever you have it, you know, as an equivalent for that, or whatever keyboard setting that you have for that. But you can change this manually this way by just going up and down. So I just changed it, and then once I move off of it, they'll go ahead and go there. Or if you have, let me move these guys out of the way again. If you have this button highlighted here as it is, or not highlighted rather, the compass pops up. And this is pretty useful because you can see in the middle you've got your relative bearing. So this is the 0 is the nose of your sub, and then you can just, you know, point and click where you want to go to make it a little faster. Or if you're seeing something at your bearing, you look up this, you know, look at the bearing and then look at the compass and click real quick, and that puts you in that, you know, general directional, you know, a little faster. And that's good when you're, you know, chasing down ships if you've already spotted them and you're trying to follow them, something like that. All right, so let me show you something else that you need to do. Now I haven't paused the game, so I'm doing this while the sub is still moving, but you know, we're not moving very fast, so we're not really changing our location very quickly. But what I'm doing here is I'm kind of zooming in to where I'm going to go, and I put us a little past this spot, which is okay. It's kind of where I want to be, is within this area. But anyway, I'm going to choose the area nearest the check mark here. Just you know, I'm kind of doing that arbitrarily just to show you something here. You see the distance here? It says 203.5 kilometers. So how do you know when you've reached your location? Right? So you're going to set a course speed, and which you're going to maintain and as best you can. And I'm going to set the sub to standard. So kind of based on the winds and the currents and the sea state, so forth, your standard speed should come out somewhere to about 11 knots. And so I'm going to let that come up to 11 knots, or where it wants to, you know, to stay. I'll speed it up a little bit. Speed up the game for you. You might go a little faster than 11 as the weather's really nice. Yep. Okay, 11.5. Okay. probably not going to stay out there the whole time, but I'm going to say it's 11.5. Alright, now in order to show you how to calculate what time you will arrive at your destination, I need to flip over to a calculator. So I'm at 11.5, and just to make sure it's 203.5. Okay, I gotta remember that. Okay, so first of all, 11.5 times 1.852, which is the knots to kilometers conversion, is 21.298 kilometers. Okay, so what was it? 203.5, 29.8 divided by 29.8, and we get 6.82 hours. Okay, so what's 0.82 of an hour? Well, I just put 0.82 and multiply that by 60, and that's 49 minutes. Okay? So 8 hours and 49 minutes is what it's going to take us. Okay, so if you look up here where your time is, it's in 24-hour time, nautical time. You can switch it to GMT time if you're, if you want. And in that case, it's 16.36. And in 8 hours and some odd minutes, if you point at it, it'll show you in AM and PM. We're going to keep it on nautical time. Okay, so 8 hours would be what? That's about 1:36, right? And then another 40 something minutes or something like that. Right, so that's going to be about maybe 2:16 in the morning. Does that sound right? I'm not writing this down or anything like that, but that should be it. So about maybe 2:15 in the morning, but around 2 in the morning, I'm going to check my location again. You should check it more often than that, but just so you don't get way off course. So now what I can do is I can use the time compression to my advantage. And it'll stop when there's like a ship in the area or something, so you don't run into it. I don't know why there's sound of the submarine slip when I have the map on. It's interesting. That's some kind of glitch. Alright. So I'm gonna be I'm gonna make it a little faster than this as soon as we get out of the way of these ships. It'll let me go faster. But when I get to 2 a.m., okay, it's letting me go faster now. I don't need the clock. And I'm not going to make you wait for this whole thing, so I'll go ahead and pause the recording, and I'll come back when I'm at my location. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, this is where the navigator thinks that we are, and we're not all that close, but we're okay. I had them calculated at 2 a.m. and then I stopped the submarine because I know it takes them about 30 minutes or so to calculate. And you can see up here it's 2:27, so that's not bad. If I was still moving for that 30 minutes, I'd be south of where I calculated that we should be. So I'm not that far away from where I need to be. I'm only, according to our navigator, I'm only 18 kilometers southeast. Now you don't have to be on this check. You don't have to be there. You just have to be in the area here. So I'm going to go ahead and plot a course up there like I showed you before. Keep in mind that I'm because when you zoom the map in and out, the disk and stuff doesn't stay, and it's kind of a pain to try to stay on it and navigate where you are. I tend to just kind of use the lower magnification maps, or map, so I can just move freely and not have to worry about zooming in and out and trying to be as accurate as I can. And the reason for that is because I know that the navigator is going to screw up to some degree, so it's kind of a waste of time to try to get it as accurate as you can, because when you ask your navigator to say where you are, he's not going to be that accurate anyway. So I put the nose of my zero bearing, which would be where I want the nose of my ship to be. I put that right on the line that I just made, and as you can see, it says it's about 292 degrees. I'm going to go down here and roll up to, it says 294, it won't let you do 292. If you go here, it'll let you do it. You have to mess with it a little bit. But here's 290, I want 292. I gotta unpause it. You just kind of have to mess with it a little bit. There it is. That's the fact that it doesn't give you exactly what you want is I would say that's a flaw. It's a relatively minor one though. Alright, so I'm at standard speed now again, and you see we're making our turn. We're at night. And you just click that on and off by clicking in the dark area of your compass. See that? Also, by the way, you don't have to have your depth buttons and stuff showing if you don't want to. There's a little button up here you can click, and you can just unclick that square on the far left, and it goes away. You can also control whether or not your XO shows up in when you lock onto a ship and you're putting in the TAC information. So it's got some features in this mod which are kind of neat. So it is 0 to 230 nautical, and I'm not going that far. Let me move this disc out of the way. I'd like to know why I'm still hearing hearing sounds like I'm inside the subslip when I'm on the map. I haven't heard that before the last time I played this game. So I put it right here. It's 19 kilometers at 11.5 knots. Alright, so let's do a little math again. 19 kilometers at 11.5, right? So 11.5 times 1.852 is 21.298. So 19 divided by 21.29. I don't need 8. It's 0.89 hours. So you just take 0.89, multiply that by 60 minutes, and it's 53 minutes. Okay. So 53 minutes from here, it's about an hour, right? So about 24 after 3. Okay, so if you use the time compression when you're in the map, it's faster and less glitchy. It's always been better that way. Alright, we're almost there. Okay. We should be there, or close. So I'm going to ask my navigator to tell me. Now, instead of using the Celestial, I'm going to ask him to do a what's called Dead Reckoning, and that just means he's kind of doing what you and I are doing right now. He's going to make his best guess. You know, knowing what speed we're going, what direction, and how long, and he's going to tell us where he thinks that we are. That's basically what we've been doing. And actually, I find that his Dead Reckoning skills are pretty good. I mean, he's usually about as accurate. Sometimes a little more accurate than Celestial. So I'm going to stop the sub and
Machine stop.
and I'm going to time compress here. I'm drifting right now. Okay, he's a little faster, and he just gave me our location. Well, I think he's a little off, but you can see that we're parallel to just about where I said that we should be. And remember, we were drifting for a little bit, so this is good enough. Because remember, when you need to be like really accurate and stuff like that, you're going to be when you're in like inside a channel, or in a harbor or something, you're going to be going by visual aids and moving very slowly, and you're going to be using acoustic aids, that is your ears. You can be listening for the channel, buoy marker, bells, looking for lighthouses. Your guys are looking out for ships, and they're going to tell you if there are, if they see any, silhouettes or anything in the dark, any ships or anything. So this is good enough. Alright. So that does it for this part of this video. I'm going to make a little series, and continue to evaluate Wolves of Steel. So as you can see, navigating real world is in this game is a little challenging, but it's not impossible. With a little practice, you won't have any problem. And you can see how it's accurate enough. When you're out in the open ocean, it gets a little more frustrating when you're trying to plot intercept courses on ships, because the navigator is not very accurate. So I actually tend to rely on my own dead reckoning, just like we were doing when we were calculating. I tend to basically, when I'm following a ship, when I'm trying to figure out where I need to go to intercept him and line up for a good shot, I use my own map. I don't really ask the navigator much unless I've been running away from destroyers, and I kind of lose track of where we are, and then I'll use the navigator. But I'll get into that later in another video. So if you like the video, go ahead and give me a like. If you have any questions, comments, just go ahead and put them in there, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.